terrific. No wind, temperature in the 60s. Let's head down to the field and Jennifer Hale.
Well, Chris, there is a genuine belief and excitement here in Oakland that Dennis Allen has finally turned the corner. I've been visiting with fans in the black hole to get their perspective. Yes, I waded in and out of here successfully, and the main reason they have hope for the future is Terrelle Pryor, Al Davis's final draft pick, his last big stamp on this team, and these fans tell me he is the reason they have a belief in the future, Chris.
All right, thanks, Jen. Terrelle Pryor on offense, smoke and mirrors is how they've described the offense so far. We're going to get a look at 41-year-old Dennis Allen, who's a defensive-minded coach, but his offense will get the football. The Eagles won the coin toss. They decided to kick off the start, so they want the ball to start the second half. Tywan Jones back at the end zone, set up to return for the Raiders. Oakland trying to get to 4-4. They were 3-4 last year and wound up with a 4-win season. The Eagles trying to get to 4-5. Week 9 is happening in Oakland. Eagles and Raiders. Jeremy Stewart takes it out of the end zone and gets up across the 17-yard line as a flag is thrown on the play. Stewart, a running back out of Stanford, on the return.
During the return, holding by the receiving team, number 28. Half the distance to the goal. Oakland keeps the ball. First down.
Phillip Adams called for the penalty. It'll back up Terrelle Pryor, the 24-year-old from Jeanette, Pennsylvania, closer to Pittsburgh. He could beat Pennsylvania teams, Tim, back-to-back. Knocked off the Steelers last week and a shot at the Eagles today.
Yeah, that was a big win last week. And his running ability has also opened up some running lanes for Darren McFadden, the running back who's as healthy as he's been in years. A makeshift offensive line. Steve Wisniewski, certainly the most consistent player at center for the Raiders up front.
Starting out from the 8-yard line, Terrelle Pryor keeps and goes out of bounds. He averages 7.5 yards a carry on the ground. They have the weakest passing offense statistically in the league. And going against an Eagle defense, rookie Benny Logan starts for the traded Isaac Sopoaga. And they've actually played well the last 2 games.
And they're led by that defensive front. Fletcher Cox, Cedric Thornton, terrific. These linebackers, high stress level today against all those misdirection runs the Raiders will throw at them with the quarterback. Nate Allen's played pretty good on the back end, kind of resurged this year, having a nice season.
On second down, McFadden carries, and it'll bring up 3rd and short. McFadden comes in only averaging 3.7 a carry. He's in a contract year. Talk about his health. He's missed an average of 5 games a season. But yeah, healthy now.
His best ability has always been his availability, Chris. When he's healthy, and as he told us on Friday, feels as good as he's felt in a long time. He can be a major weapon.
3rd down and 4 from the Raider 14.
Let's see if Philadelphia decides they want to blitz Terrelle Pryor, the least blitzed quarterback in pro football.
Pryor on the move in his own end zone. Throwing out of it and open is Denarius Moore. All the way up across the 40-yard line. Pryor said he wanted to be more patient in the pocket. Well, he had to move out of it. No quarterback has thrown more out of the pocket than Terrelle Pryor, and he waited and picked up 27 yards on that play to Moore.
And they choose not to blitz him, that being Philadelphia. Cedric Thornton, you got to get him down. Michael Kendricks coming late. Terrelle Pryor, for all the sacks they've taken, he is a tough sack, hard to get to the ground, kept it alive.
From the 41-yard line, Pryor has time, wants to go deep, and will be knocked out, loses the football. We have a whistle, and they're going to say that he's down right at the 35-yard line. The quick whistle, and give Trent Cole credit. Cole looking for his first sack coming into this game. Has been used a lot in coverage this year. Well, let's look back at the 27-yard gainer.
Yeah, and Terrelle Pryor, I mean, this is a risky play, and part of the reason why he's taking so many sacks is he holds the ball. I mean, he's going to hold this ball for about 5 seconds. They got an opportunity to get to him. They don't. He finds a wide open Denarius Moore as the coverage broke down in the middle of the field. Big play.
30th sack allowed by the Raiders. And it brings up second down at 16. McFadden splits out as a receiver. And there's time. Low but caught across the 41-yard line. Terrelle Pryor, backup receiver. In fact, at Arizona, he played with Nick Foles and was the #1 target, getting some action today. They've had trouble with the third receiver after Denarius Moore and Rod Streeter.
Yeah, they mostly stay with 2 backs and 1 tight end, 2 receivers. Terrelle Pryor loves to escape to his right. And we've seen already in this game the few times that he's had to move. Very, very comfortable and good at throwing the ball. His best weapon when he runs right, he is, in fact, a good thrower.
Third down, they need to get to the 49 of the Eagles. Pryor floats to Rod Streeter, who is tackled right away across the 45-yard line. That'll bring up 4th down. Brandon Boykin, who's played well, the backup corner, forcing the Raiders into a punt situation.
I'll tell you, Philadelphia on defense, good stop there. They feel like they're going to ascend here in the back half of the season. Talking to Connor Barr when their outside linebacker said finally players and coaches, everybody's starting to understand their role. They played good over the last couple of weeks on defense.
Marquette King, who leads the NFL in punting, averaging just under 49 yards a boot. Standing at his 31, back for Philadelphia. Deshaun Jackson, bothered by an ankle this week. He lets it go. And into the end zone. There's a flag down back at the 35-yard line. It looked like somebody ran into Marquette King after a 54-yard punt. Raiders already had a penalty to start the game. Usually in the 8 of the last 10 years, the Raiders have been in the top 3 in penalties. Not so this year. They're not even in the top 25.
Running into the kicker by the defense. It was a 5-yard penalty only, but 5 yards results in a first down.
We didn't get a number on who ran into the kicker, but you help us out here, Tim.
That looks like Kurt Coleman, who just basically loses his balance and puts his helmet right through the punting leg of the punter, and it was right on the cusp of being a first down. I mean, it was literally 4th down and about just short of 5 yards, so it just puts him just past the line to gain.
Pryor lines up as a receiver. They got the Wildcat going, and McFadden on a direct snap goes straight ahead. A big penalty on Kurt Coleman on a 4th down punt that gave the Raiders a first down. Maybe a questionable running into the kicker, but the Raiders have the football now in Eagle territory on 2nd down.
And we'll see a few plays of the Wildcat with Darren McFadden getting the direct snap, and it makes sense. He ran it in college. He's already shown that he can throw. There's Philadelphia lining up the personnel, 22, 2 running backs, 2 tight ends. This is what he's telling the defense what the offensive personnel grouping is.
2nd and 7. The give is to McFadden. He plows for a first down. The Cowboys rallied. Let's hear from Joel Klatt on how they did it in just a moment, but let's check the flag. Dallas has defeated Minnesota 27-23.
Holding. Offense, number 45. It's a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat 2nd down.
The call on Marcel Reese. Let's check in with Joel Klatt.
That's right, Chris. Like you said, Dallas came all the way back, gave up the lead in the 4th quarter, but Romo finds Dwayne Harris for the 7-yard score, his 2nd TD of the season, and they win it by 4. Chris, Tim, and Jennifer.
And of course, the Eagles come in here 3-5. Dallas goes to 5-4. And NFC East filled with mediocrity in the first half of the season. Redskins are in overtime at home with San Diego. On 2nd down, it's batted incomplete. It'll bring up 3rd and long for the Raiders.
Good job there by Earl Wolf coming off the edge, and certainly one of the blitzers here for the Philadelphia Eagles. He'll come from the right side of your screen there. He just reads the quarterback, and Terrelle Pryor, big tall guy. Earl Wolf gets up in the air and bats it down and forces a 3rd and long, an area where the Raiders had really struggled. This is where Philadelphia wants to get them into these 3rd down, long down and distance situations.
Rashad Jennings comes in as the running back. Pryor hesitates. He's in trouble here, and he's got room. is on the other side of the field. He did a lot of running before Nate Allen ran him down, and now it's 4th down.
Well, you can just tell he is a different guy when he rolls to his left, right? I mean, he looks so comfortable, Terrelle Pryor, rolling out to his right, throwing off the run with accuracy. When he's got to go left and reset his feet, he's a whole different QB.
Eagles want him to have to throw all day. There's Deshaun Jackson. Marquette King running to last time. Fair catch called for right at the 15-yard line. Scoreless in the opening quarter. The Eagles on offense for the first time after a 38-yard punt. We'll get a look at Nick Foles. Nick Foles, his 9th start in the NFL. Michael Vick has had 5, practicing with the team, but inactive again with that hamstring pull. Foles played well in a start against Tampa, but then struggled against Dallas. Had to pass an impact test coming off the concussion on first down. He can run at 6'6". He'll slide across the 20-yard line. Eagle offense in a bit of a funk, but they come in ranked 5th in the NFL, and it's all up-tempo, hurry to the line, and then assess things on 2nd and 6. LaShawn McCoy. Here comes a flag as he gets up near a first down. McCoy leads the NFL in rushing and attempts.
Holding, offense, number 79. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat 2nd down.
The call on Todd Harriman.
And right at the point of attack, here's Todd right there, 79. Right where the ball goes. There's the double team there, and he just looks, oh, a tic-tac ball on the inside. It's Pat Sims.
2nd and 16. Foles completes to Riley Cooper, who's got room down the sideline. Cooper's on the Raiders side of the field before Charles Woodson bumps him around the 48 of Oakland.
This looked like a bad angle by Brandon Ross, the safety, and this is what Philadelphia wants to do. They want to go up-tempo, they want to throw it quick, get it out wide, and get this defense breathing hard, which certainly physically get tired, but mentally you get stressed out as well.
A 42-yard gain. Foles to throw again and open, incomplete. He missed him. Was his tight end, Zach Ertz.
And they love to do this. Foles is just going to catch it and throw it, and almost an extension of the running game, especially if they can get some man coverage out there and get guys picked off. Riley Cooper off to the races. That's the 46th play of 20 yards or more, which is most in the NFL for the Eagles. On 2nd and 10, it's McCoy, and they drop him for a loss. Kevin Burnett, who's bounced around Dallas, San Diego, and comfortable here in Oakland. One advantage these Raiders have today is the versatility, Chris, that they can keep all their guys on the field, and there's Jason Tarver, the defensive coordinator, against all this up-tempo stuff, and really change their looks. I mean, they are truly a hybrid defense. 3-man fronts, 4-man fronts, all with the same personnel.
Third and 13 for Nick Foles. Fires and caught at the 32 and knocked down right away. Good enough for an Eagle first down. Jeff Mayle, who's part of the rotation of receivers behind Riley Cooper and Deshaun Jackson, a 20-yard gain.
Raiders have got to rush the passer better. Philadelphia sends 5 out. Chip Kelly believes in it, which means 5-man protection. Nick Foles is going to have that much time to sit in the pocket, survey the field, and throw. He will carve up this Raider defense.
Foles with a pump fake and flips it out to LaShawn McCoy. Blockers in front. He's down inside the 20. It's another Eagle first down. That was something. Oh, even the guys moving the chains are having trouble keeping up with the pace of this Eagle offense. But Nick Foles, that's what his coach wanted him to do. Said, grip it and rip it. Don't overthink things.
Well, he grips it and decides not to rip it and just checks it down to the screen to LaShawn McCoy. Very good in space.
After a 13-yard pickup, a quick flip to Deshaun Jackson down to the 10-yard line.
Boy, what a frantic pace.
The Raiders came in with a 9th-ranked defense, but they're getting worked over here.
And the hurry up and the up-tempo, and Chip Kelly knows it. It's really the biggest equalizer to pass rushers. All those defenders breathing hard. They have really struggled down here in scoring position, Philadelphia.
Second down, 2. McCoy trying to find some room, strung out and run out of bounds. Excellent defense against Kevin Burnett from that linebacking core. And the Eagles in the red zone have been one of the worst. In fact, only Jacksonville has been worse, 31st when it comes to getting touchdowns inside the 20.
Talking to LaShawn McCoy yesterday, who, as we said, has been quiet the last 2 games, he said without Mike Vick out there and the threat of the running quarterback, the defenses have really boxed him in and have not given him running lanes.
2 tight ends on 3rd down. McCoy splits out as a receiver. Foles has time, completes, pounding inside the 5. Zach Ertz, the rookie from Stanford, who's from Danville, California, and it is a 1st and goal for the Eagles. Kelly calls the plays. Nick Foles has to read and react. No huddle here, as has been their approach. From the 2-yard line, McCoy's the back. Cooper and Avant, bottom part of your screen. Here comes a flag. Pass, end zone, touchdown Eagles. Brent Selleck with the catch. Let's check on that penalty.
Yeah, this is going to be on the Raiders, I believe. This touchdown's going to stand.
Offside, defense, number 23, lined up in the neutral zone. The penalty is declined. Touchdown.
Let's take a look at Porter here. That's the call, number 23.
Man, you could tell he was in the neutral zone at the snap of the ball. Good to see these tight ends involved for Philadelphia, and they have been mostly a 3-wide receiver formation football team in terms of their personnel. That drive right there, we saw a good number of 2 tight ends on the field, and it pays off with Selleck getting the touchdown.
Alex Henry, the extra point, first Eagle touchdown on offense in 9 quarters. They lead 7-0.
This game is sponsored by Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL.
Eagles have invaded Oakland. Brent Selleck's 3rd touchdown of the season, but that's the first offensive touchdown for Philadelphia in the last 26 drives. Alex Henry with the boot. It'll be a touchback coming out to the 20-yard line. That's game started with a Raider penalty. Move the ball, and the Eagles' first offensive series results in 6. A look at downtown Oakland. Back at the Coliseum, Nick Foles, 7 touchdown passes this season, no interceptions. He was 6 of 7 on that scoring drive and hit 6 different receivers.
And the problem was the Raiders didn't hit him once. And as I said, if all those 5-man protections, if you can't hit the quarterback, Foles is good enough to pick them apart.
From the 20-yard line, Pryor gives to McFadden. It'll be 2nd down. Let's go back to the touchdown to Selleck.
And a terrific play call by Chip Kelly. Here's Brent Selleck lined up at tight end. Brandon Ross, who's in there for Tyvon Branch, has got him in man coverage. They run the crossing route, and watch Brandon Ross just get picked off really there by Charles Woodson and Riley Cooper. Nick Roach trying to stay with him. He can't. Good throw by Foles.
Looking more like the offense that opened the season against the Redskins. By the way, the Redskins won in overtime today. Dallas also won in the NFC East.
What's up?
On 2nd down, Pryor flips, complete to McFadden, who gets up near the 25-yard line, where it'll bring in 3rd down. Let's check in for a game break with Joel Klatt. Joel?
Well, Chris, just like you said, Washington wins it. The Chargers had a 1st and goal from the 1-yard line, settled for a field goal and overtime. RG3 right down the field. Terrelle Young, his 3rd touchdown of the game, wins it 30-24. And Washington's still alive in the NFC East. Chris.
Thank you, Joel. And there's a look at the standings to the moment with Dallas and Washington's victory on the board. The Eagles hoping for their 4th. On 3rd and 5, Pryor, he's open, Rod Streeter. Rod Streeter streaking down the sideline. He's still going. Inside the 10 of Philadelphia. 66 yards. Terrelle Pryor to Rod Streeter.
Boy, clever little design. Streeter is stacked up, and really, as he comes inside Denarius Moore, he breaks down the man coverage. Boykin could not stay with him, and you love these big targets for Terrelle Pryor. I mean, that was a very accurate throw. Terrelle Pryor's accuracy has not been great. These big receivers, and Streeter being 6'3" has been a huge help for him.
The folks at Temple remember Rod Streeter in his college days. On 1st and goal from the 9, Pryor keeps it and falls down at the 6.5-yard line. Looked like Michael Kendricks, who's going to play part of that spy role this afternoon, made sure that Pryor couldn't get close to the goal line.
Well, he's the whole key here, and his speed really shows up. Here is Michael Kendricks. They're hoping he steps this way with the action, which is going to give Pryor the free lane. He takes about a half a step, chops his feet, then gets on his horse with that speed and is able to track Pryor down and gets help for a minimal gain there for the Raiders quarterback. Nice play.
Kendricks, a star at Cal, second-round draft pick, happy to be back on the coast with family and friends watching.
What do you say about Pryor? I'm getting after his butt in this one.
On 2nd and goal, Pryor has all day, but can he find anybody for the end zone? No. It'll be 3rd down. He was trying to get it to Kreiner. Kreiner at 6'3", another one of those angular receivers.
Well, it's these big receivers, and I think Reggie McKenzie has done a great job in building with weapons to help Terrelle Pryor, the general manager, Reggie, and Greg Olson using them properly. I mean, big targets for a quarterback with accuracy issues, and then he turns to a runner immediately. All those guys turn to blockers as soon as Pryor breaks the pocket.
3rd down and goal. Terrelle Pryor spins out of the pocket, heaves it for the end zone. Here comes a flag. Jerron Kreiner was the receiver he was trying to get the football to.
And Kerry Williams held him, and that's going to be the call in the end zone. This ball is going to be placed up there tight.
Each team with 2 penalties so far.
There were fouls by both teams on the play. Holding defense, number 26. Offense, number 69. The penalty's offset. Replay 3rd down.
Khalif Barnes called for Dennis Allen's team. Kerry Williams in the secondary for the Eagles.
And here's the first hold right here in the middle of the end zone. And then 69 left tackle Khalif Barnes on Brandon Graham and just grabs him by the V of the neck and rips him down inside. That was obvious.
3rd down and 6 after the offsetting penalties. Darren McFadden with Pryor in the backfield. Pryor looking around. End zone incomplete. There wasn't a lot there. Darren McFadden was in the area. It'll be 4th down. Sebastian Janikowski coming on. Vinny Curry, part of that rotation on the youngest defensive line of the NFL for Philly. They're all 25 years or younger, putting the pressure, at least making sure Pryor didn't roll into the end zone. So Janikowski comes on to try a field goal of 24 yards to get Oakland on the board. Just over 2 minutes remaining here in the opening quarter. King is the holder. And it's all good for the Raiders, but an important stand by the Eagles defense. Dennis Allen's team gets 3 after Pryor is bottled up. One of the treats when you come to a Raider game is seeing the Hall of Famer John Madden, coach and broadcaster. That's his son Mike with him, and that smile anytime he gets near a football game, that is entertainment all the way around.
Here's always a treat for me when you got John Madden. Telestrating John Madden. Boom! There he is, baby.
He is missed by many who watch football games every weekend. Janikowski kicks off. And the ball rolls down inside the 10-yard line. Brandon Boykin is knocked down hard around the 16-yard line. Phillip Adams making the special teams play for the Raiders. Philadelphia marched 84 yards last time. Headliners in the Eagle offense that Nick Foles has been getting the ball to. They've already all touched it except for Jason Avant. They waited till the last moment to trot their group out on first down.
Maybe get some popcorn right now. Chris delivered to watch this show, this Philly offense.
LaShawn McCoy with a bit of a hole. Brought down short of the 25-yard line. Kevin Burnett, who's been active, and the offensive line, #1 pick Lane Johnson, up, down a little bit, but a better line than last year with all the injuries.
Well, no doubt. I mean, all these guys finished on the injury list.
Foles will keep and run for a first down across the 32-yard line. Nick Roach knocked him down.
And Nick Foles, he talked about this yesterday. I mean, a lot of times he's going to look to throw it quick. If it's not there, he is going to tuck it and run. And he did that time, got Seal Moore up in the air with the pump fake and was able to pick up a first down with his legs. A couple times Foles has ran already.
After a 9-yard pickup, the screen to McCoy. And Sean McCoy gets near the 38-yard line of the Eagles.
I was talking to some of the Raiders before the game. They said, oh, we've already seen this hurry up. We've seen Denver. We've seen some other teams. I don't think they've seen it at this pace in terms of the high octane that Philadelphia is throwing at them right now. Here's the play clock. Keep your eye on that.
2nd and 5. The pitch to Bryce Brown. And he has a first down. Diving across the 45-yard line. In the opening quarter, the yardage piled up already. We've got 40 seconds or so and counting.
Well, of course, for Oakland, the big one was on the Rod Streeter crossing route. Terrelle Pryor already at 107 yards. It's close to what he's been averaging on the year, about $1.76.
And off to Brown again, and Bryce Brown is loose on the sideline. It's at the 25 of the Raiders.
Huge hole right up the gut. You got two defensive tackles. You got the center uncovered. So he's got a free running lane right to the middle linebacker, Nick Roach, and that's the first 20-yard run the Raiders have given up all season.
A gain of 24, longest for Brown this season, who has been used sparingly. And he carries as the first quarter winds down. The Eagles, who have a touchdown from Foles to Selleck, are trying to get some more. At the end of one quarter, Philadelphia leads the Raiders in Oakland 7-3. You're watching the NFL on Fox. Some Eagle fans hanging out with Raider Nation. On 2nd and 6 from the Oakland 18, LaShawn McCoy comes back in. Brown has 44 yards rushing on 3 carries. McCoy as a receiver splits out to the right. Pass goes to Selleck, who's wrestling around at the 20 but gains yardage. Kevin Burnett had him, but Selleck picked up some yards after the tackle.
And the Raiders are going to start sending pressure. And Charles Woodson, that time, coming off the edge. Nick Foles saw it quick, got right to his hot route, which is really the blitz beater versus that blitz. And Kevin Burnett was there to make the tackle, but Chris, not after he got pushed about 4 yards down the field.
It's 3rd and 5 from the 17. Foles for Riley Cooper. End zone, touchdown! Foles with 2 touchdown passes, and the Eagles with a chance to go up 14-0. He casually floated it for Cooper, beating DJ Hayden.
Yeah, beating the rookie here, and you got a lot of time, Nick Foles, to throw the ball. Here comes the pressure. The O-line blocks it up, and Riley Cooper just stretching out. That's a great throw from Nick Foles. I mean, throwing right back to that corner pylon. It's almost like Hayden didn't think that was going to be possible. That Riley Cooper was going to run away from him and Foles was going to throw it. Well executed.
Extra point for Alex Henry, and it's 14-0 after a 17-yard touchdown pass. I'm sorry, it's 14-3. They want to cut the Raiders short. They'll get a chance on offense after Foles has thrown his 2nd touchdown.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Chevrolet. Find new roads. By DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Eagles enjoying the beautiful weather here in the Bay Area. 14-3 after Riley Cooper hauls in the 2nd touchdown pass thrown by Nick Foles to that. That's the 3rd touchdown catch of the year for Riley Cooper.
And Cooper just uses his big body. I mean, about 30 pounds heavier than DJ Hayden, about 4 inches taller, a couple of subtle little push-offs, and created some separation.
Taiwan Jones knocked out short of the 15-yard line. Important special teams play to put the Raiders in a bit of a hole here. Well, whatever tonic Chip Kelly and this Eagle offense was looking for, Tim, they found it in a hurry against a very good Raider defense on the road.
Well, I feel like I need to start talking fast, Chris. It's all about the pressure, all about the blitz pressure from the Raiders. They got to get more hits on Nick Foles. It's really that simple. I've said it a few times. He is good enough, if not under pressure, with all those weapons getting 5 out. He's getting after the Raiders right now because they can't hit him and affect him.
And the Raiders with a first down at their own 14. They need some big plays from Pryor, who completes to Marcel Reese, the fullback, who slips through a tackle and gets up near the 29-yard line. Everybody saw the 93-yard record-setting touchdown run from Pryor last week on the read option. Have we seen enough read option early when they've had the football?
Well, we saw the one that Michael Kendricks was able to track down. That's going to have to continue to be part of their game plan. They need to get some plays on this drive now. They got to get some first downs. Their defense only been on the field 6.5 minutes, but at that pace, seems like they're dog tired.
McFadden on second down to the 25-yard line. And if you missed it, last week Steelers were here. Terrelle Pryor, 93-yard touchdown run. Came out of the box with a set a record for the longest run by a quarterback in NFL history and eclipsed Bo Jackson's 92-yard run for the longest run in franchise history for the Raiders. And Pryor told us in a news conference, he said that was his longest run. His high school coach called him and said, oh no, you had a 99-yarder back in high school. Rashad Jennings carries. It'll be second down for the Raiders.
I think one thing about Pryor is we know he has the long speed, but he's also got the short speed. He ran a 4.32 in the 40-yard dash at Ohio State, and it was laser timed, electronic timed, handheld, so they had the checks and balances on him. Clock 4.32, but where he's so impressive to me is when he's putting that ball in the belly of the running back and that zone read stuff, his ability to get full speed in 2 seconds, impressive.
Rashad Jennings in at receiver from the running back spot. The blitz is on. The Pryor goes down. Ball is loose. There's a flag down. Earl Wolf, came in on the safety blitz.
Intentional grounding, offense number 2. There was no receiver in the area, and the ball did not reach the line of scrimmage. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Loss of down, brings up third down.
And here's the box right here. So if Terrelle Pryor is inside of there, well, you know what? He's outside the box, but if you're outside the box, you've got to get the ball back to the line of scrimmage. I mean, he could have been not even close to getting back to the line of scrimmage. It's areas, those situations, Chris, where he's still lacking and looks like a young player.
Could have been whistled down. Pass is caught by Denarius Moore on 3rd and 23. That's not going to get it done. The Eagles with an 11-point lead here, and they want to force Pryor to throw. A guy who, in only his 8th NFL start, said he's trying to learn to throw more from the pocket. He's going to have to do that today to play catch-up against the frenetic Eagles.
Yeah, enough of that. How about some designed rollouts for Terrelle Pryor? Just getting him out on the edge and a run-pass option. Maybe his best weapon.
Marquette King inside his 10, steps up and moves it. Deshaun Jackson at the 20. Deshaun Jackson at the 40. Look at the moves from Deshaun Jackson and the blocking as he goes all the way out to 47. Here comes a flag as he went out of bounds. A 34-yard return, and Marquette King is the guy who bumped him. And he's hot.
It's like Kaluka Mayava, Chris, is injured over on the other side of the field, taking a knee. Boy, everything's fast about Philly. Deshaun Jackson in the open field turning that corner. My goodness.
Personal foul, face mask by the return man. They're running with the ball. Number 10, 15-yard penalty. Philadelphia will keep the ball after enforcement of the foul. First down.
That's why Marquette King was so upset about the face mask and the injured Raider. Let's look at the penalty here. That's Deshaun Jackson, and that's the punter. The new season of Ultimate Fighter is powerful and relentless. Catch the show that critics are saying delivers the goods. See why they call Ronda Rousey and Miesha Tate the new best rivalry in sports. You'll get hooked on the show that everybody's talking about. Ultimate Fighter. Only on Fox Sports 1 Wednesday. And to find Fox Sports 1 on your provider, go to foxsports1.com. Those drives, 84 yards, 82 yards. Touchdown tosses from Nick Foles.
They've been a juggernaut, to be honest with you. You see the 14 points, about 10 yards a play so far in this game. 18 plays, 177 yards of offense for the Eagles.
The injured player over on the Raiders sideline was able to get up and walk off. Kaluka Maeva. And right now the Eagles with a first down at their own 37. Foles is airing it out for Riley Cooper. He's got it. That's a touchdown, Eagles. DJ Hayden fell down and there are no flags. 63 yards. Foles to Cooper.
Like DJ Hayden just getting hung out to dry there. Playing outside leverage, you would think that he's expecting help in the middle of the field. Brandon Ross goes one way, the safety. Charles Woodson bites up the other way, and there is nobody in support for DJ Hayden. Perfect throw to Riley Cooper from Nick Foles.
Alex Henry with the extra point. The Raiders a top 10 defense, but they're getting abused here. That's a career-long touchdown reception for Riley Cooper. Eagles up 21-3 at Oakland.
This game is sponsored by Pizza Hut, stuffing 3 cheeses into their croissants. Well, this weekend it's new.
Riley Cooper having a career day. The other receiver lining up on the other side of Deshaun Jackson. On the Raiders secondary, the most improved part of this team, getting beat up today by Nick Foles. Taiwan Jones will down it. Touchback. So we come out to the 20-yard line for the Raiders on offense.
Safety position. Play it safe, be the deepest of the deep. Here's Woodson. Ross is going to come up. Woodson's got the deep middle. He bites on the seam player. Riley Cooper just post route right down the middle of the field. DJ Hayden, you can see up there at corner, opens his hips, expecting help to his inside. Then he falls down. Great throw by Foles, but certainly a coverage bust by the Raiders.
Terrelle Pryor has run the ball only 3 times today. He's 7 of 11. From the 20. Room to run. He slides early, just past the 25-yard line.
Hey, Cleo, I see you come.
Pryor said on the NFL on Fox pregame show, he understands. I don't think there's a flag down.
Offside, defense, nose guard. 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Didn't get a number on who it was.
It was square, 77.
Okay.
He was lined up in the neutral zone at the snap. And there's so much time left to go in this game. Clearly, defensively, the Raiders have got to be better, but you got to wonder, I mean, if they get any further behind, Terrelle Pryor playing catch-up with his arm, that is a tall order.
On 1st and 5, Rashad Jennings is in the game. And let's get a game break. Check in on the Patriots with Joel Klatt. Joel?
Yeah, Chris, let's go up to New England, and immediately following a Roethlisberger interception, Brady looking right, comes back to Amendola down the seam, and Danny Amendola becomes the 50th player to catch a TD pass from Tom Brady. 7-0 New England. Chris.
Thanks, Joel. In that AFC East, the Jets beat the Saints today. Cowboys and Redskins were winners in the NFC East. Philadelphia is up 21-3 here. Just over 10 minutes to go in the second quarter. Pryor open and complete for a first down at the 41. Rookie tight end Michael Rivera. Pryor was saying he has to be more mobile, but if he can throw from the pocket, that'll help his team's chances.
Well, he's got a toughness factor mentally, that's for sure, because he knows the pressure is bearing down on him. He turns the wrong way on the pivot, but he hangs in there to make a last-second throw to Michael Rivera, who's just sitting in the middle of the defense.
Jennings remains the back. He gets the carry straight ahead and a good hole up across the 45-yard line. Pryor was saying on the pregame show that he understands why Raider fans doubt, because they've had a kind of a lost decade here, used to a certain measure of success in Oakland, and they just haven't had a winning season, let alone at a halfway point. As Darren McFadden is looking on here, and we do not have a report of an injury, as Rashad Jennings continues to be the running back. Here comes a flag and a whistle.
False start offense, number 65. 5-yard penalty with second down.
Call on the right guard, Mike Brazel. There's Greg Olson, the offensive coordinator, who's done a terrific job.
He is so underrated. I mean, you talk about a guy who mentored and helped build Drew Brees at Purdue. Been around the league, a lot of different stops as an offensive coordinator. What he got out of Josh Freeman in Tampa. You saw what happened to Josh Freeman since Greg left, and he's really doing the best with what he's got here in Terrelle Pryor and these weapons offensively.
On 2nd and 10, Pryor for the fullback. Marcel Reese made the catch. Nice work on the sideline, staying in bounds and showing good hands.
He's such a versatile player, and this one comes out of the pistol, and that's another thing Greg Olson is doing a lot of, is running that pistol formation. Terrelle Pryor in shotgun close to the line of scrimmage. See if he tapped both of those feet down.
What's the difference between the pistol and the shotgun?
Shotgun, you're 5 or 6 yards deep. Pistol, you're right at 4 yards. Everything happens quicker for the quarterback.
Pryor on the move. There's a lot of room. He's got a first down. Terrelle Pryor. Can he get to the end zone? No. But it's 1st and goal Raiders.
Tell you, you get caught in a blitz, blitzing your inside linebackers right up the gut. Terrelle Pryor sees it. You got no contained player, and you get a good illustration of number 2 speed right there. He is not only a long strider, he's got quickness, change of direction ability. He smashes it down inside the 10-yard line.
1st and goal after a 35-yard run from Pryor. Jennings, touchdown Raiders. Rashad Jennings carrying the load on that drive, replacing Darren McFadden and Sebastian Janikowski with the extra point. There's a flag down.
Yeah, they call that the inside power play, and that's exactly what it was. All power by the Raiders' offensive line. Two things need to happen in the power play. You got to be able to block down and get some push, and the puller's got to get a good block as he's pulling around. They did both.
Illegal formation by the defense. 7 men were lined up on one side of the ball. That's a 5-yard penalty. The option of Oakland is to enforce it on the kickoff. The try counts.
Rashad Jennings coming over from Jacksonville, his first touchdown as a Raider this season. It's 21-10 Eagles. Terrelle Pryor responds with an 80-yard drive. Jennings touchdown. It's 21-10 as the Raiders are ready to kick off. And Darren McFadden, the sideline report, no injury. Jennings took his spot on that drive, and we'll have a touchback here as the Eagles take over at the 20-yard line.
And here's the touchdown by Rashad Jennings. A bit of an assist by Philadelphia, who really kind of stumped their way out of the play. But watch the down block there, and then the puller Mike Brizell, who gets a great kick-out block, opens a really nice running lane right inside there for Rashad Jennings. That is perfect. And Greg Olson knows Rashad Jennings. Matter of fact, Greg, in Jacksonville last couple of years as the offensive coordinator, where Rashad Jennings played a lot in relief for Maurice Jones-Drew.
Raider defense better be aware of Riley Cooper, top of your screen. Nick Foles, he's 10 of 11. Floats it for Selleck, and incomplete. What's happening in Seattle? The winless Bucs are there. Joel Klatt has a story.
That's right, Chris, and the winless Bucs are up 21-0 thanks to Mike James with a kiss. Courtesy of Bill Raftery, of course. Tom Crabtree with the touchdown. 21-0 Tampa Bay in the second quarter. Chris.
There's a little Bill Raftery reference. College hoop announcer you'll see on Fox Sports 1. Thanks, Joel. On second down.
That's some onions.
Foles, there's a flag down, and he's knocked down at the 18 by Nick Roche, who is the leading tackler for the Raiders.
There's going to be a hold on the Raiders. Or excuse me, on the Eagles, excuse me. Raiders starting to get some pressure now.
Holding, offense, number 69. The penalty is declined, brings up third down.
The call on the left guard, Evan Mathis. And Dennis Allen making some adjustments on defense. And now a third down test for Foles. The Eagles are backed up, and it's loud.
Well started offense, number 69. 5-yard penalty, it's still third down.
Give an assist to the Raider Nation. It's rocking here.
Mathis looking for a place to hide. Now 3rd and 16, backed up at the Philadelphia 14. Foles has all day, and Deshaun Jackson has the catch for a first down. Mike Jenkins covering him, but they hustled to the line. A 17-yard completion when they needed 16 on third down, and the calm and the cool of Nick Foles.
Well, they only rushed 3, that being the Raiders, so Foles had all day to throw. Interesting, Deshaun Jackson had that much space around him with 8 guys in coverage. That's too easy.
First down, LaShawn McCoy. Stopped short of the 35-yard line.
LaShawn McCoy around the left end.
Just over 6 minutes to go before halftime. Foles has already thrown 3 touchdown passes in this game. 2 of them going to Riley Cooper. It'll be 2nd and 7. Bryce Brown checks in. Foles on the move and open, complete. Deshaun Jackson, and stays in bounds.
But you got to be impressed with the mobility of Nick Foles to buy himself some time with his legs. Of course, a huge trend in pro football right now. You got to have a quarterback that can move. Nobody thinks of Nick Foles as a mobile quarterback. He's been doing some good stuff with his legs.
Chip Kelly told me that their offense doesn't change a whole lot, even with Michael Vick out of there. You disagreed, but Foles is doing his part today. And Brown gets the carry. Brown is inside the 40. They already have 49 plays of 20 yards or more. This Eagle offense, they came in leading the NFL in that department, and they've had quite a few today.
Boy, this guy's finally starting to find his groove, Bryce Brown. And you remember when he got into the lineup last year, he had 2 starts. First 2 starts, 347 yards in those 2 games. Been a slow start for him this year. He's finding it tonight.
On second down, pass is caught. That's Selleck. Brett Selleck inside the Raider 50. Charles Woodson had to run him down.
tell you, huge number today for the Raiders. With all these screens, all these perimeter throws, you've got to tackle in space. Bad angles by the defense, bad angles by Kevin Burnett. I think part of that's being tired. Nobody touched Brent Selleck till he got about 15, 20 yards down the field.
Another explosive,
the hands on the hips.
Explosive play, 20 yards or more. That was a 24-yard gain. And already 300 yards of offense for the Eagles, in excess of that. And we haven't hit the half yet. McCoy splits out as a receiver, top of your screen. Foles looking in the end zone. Throws there. Touchdown, Eagles! Zach Ertz, the rookie from Stanford. In high school, he was coached, his position coach was Brett Jones, the great 49er tight end. From Danville, California, he scores in Oakland.
And he comes from the flex out position, and he just goes right to the corner of the end zone. Sells it inside. A busted coverage. Brandon Ross has got his eyes on the quarterback. He's out there for Tyvon Branch. And Ertz just posts up in the side of the end zone, and Foles finds him easily.
Alex Henry with the extra point. A career best for Nick Foles. 4 touchdown passes, and we've yet to hit the half. And the first career touchdown catch for Zach Ertz. Tim Ryan, Chris Myers, Jennifer Hale down on the field. There is Zach Ertz, the tight end. Really has not been a whole lot of part of this offense until today. 5 catches combined. Ertz has 2, and Selleck has 3, and they each have a touchdown.
And Philadelphia is just shredding the Raiders, Chris, with big plays, explosive plays. And that's an area coming into the game today where the Raiders have really been outstanding, top 5 in the league. Not giving up explosive plays. They had not given up a run of 20-plus. That has happened today. And Nick Foles is just picking them apart to a variety of weapons.
From the end zone, Jeremy Stewart gets up, hit hard across the 20-yard line. Just under 4 minutes to play. The Eagles trying to get to 4-5 already in the NFC East. The Cowboys and the Redskins have won today. Fox tomorrow, the Horseman returns to America's favorite new drama. Critics rave that it's TV's craziest, most over-the-top, fun show. Don't miss an all-new Sleepy Hollow tomorrow at 9 Eastern, 8 Central on Fox.
Hello. Go at him. Look up.
Rashad Jennings remains the running back. He scored the touchdown for Oakland. They're down 18. Darren McFadden started the game. Tim, you mentioned the healthiest he's been in quite a while. 5 carries, 12 yards for McFadden. He also had a catch, but no injury at this point. Jennings took over the last drive and remains the running back.
It's going to be a tough row to hoe inside running with what Philadelphia's decided to sprinkle in on defense. The old Bear defense where they're covering all 3 guys inside to neutralize those inside runs.
Pryor running to his right. Looks like he got near the first down marker, depending on the spot. Man, for a 6'5", he's listed at 6'4", but he's bigger than that, and he did get the first down.
He's every bit of 6'5". And Michael Kendricks has got his hands full, number 95. He's flush rushing today, which means anytime that Terrelle Pryor is flushed out of the pocket or up in the pocket, Michael Kendricks is going to go rush him. Everything looks good until it's time to catch him. He can't stay with Terrelle Pryor.
Kendricks last week led the team in tackles and forced a fumble and was excellent in coverage. On first down, Pryor has time. He's airing it out for Denarius Moore. And tipped away at the last moment by Kerry Williams. Had a chance at an interception.
Yeah, tipped away and dropped. I mean, he went up and hit that ball at the highest point. Reached over Denarius Moore, had it in his hands and just dropped it.
Looked like Moore was open early and the ball hung in the air.
Yeah, the ball a little underthrown for sure, which gave Kerry Williams that opportunity to go up over the back and get his hands on it. Just can't hang on.
But airing it out deep, a play that Al Davis would have been proud of, and Terrelle Pryor, the last draft pick of the late Al Davis. Pryor keeps it, and the Eagles were ready. So Nico leads the Eagles in tackles. Forces a third down.
Boy, speaking of Al Davis,
the eternal Raider flame.
Love it.
39.
A great guy for this league, for the Raider organization. There's his son, Mark Davis. And it's been a monumental task now trying to rebuild this football team. And Mark, making a lot of tough decisions, bringing in Reggie McKenzie. I think Dennis Allen's the right guy. They're headed in the right direction.
What you doing? No, you're good.
Blitz coming on 3rd and 9. Pryor too high for the sideline, and Kreiner incomplete. It'll be 4th down. Again, Kerry Williams, who's played well over there on the coverage. Looks like there's a flag back at the 21.
Holding offense, number 27. The penalty is declined. The play results in 4th down.
Each team with 3 timeouts. A second away from the 2-minute warning.
You would think that the defensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles, Billy Davis, would have called off the dogs with all those blitz pressures, and they're one of the top blitzing units in pro football with the legs of Terrelle Pryor, but they have not done that. They have continued to send pressure on the Raider quarterback.
Deshaun Jackson, who had a dazzling punt return to set up the Eagles last time, is back. He has it at the 20. And he'll lose a yard. A 47-yard punt. We have reached the 2-minute warning. The Eagles, they have the lead. They have the football. With 1:49 to go, penalty flag on the punt.
Personal foul, face mask, by the kicking team. At the time of the tackle. A 15-yard penalty is enforced from the dead ball spot. Philadelphia's ball, 1st down. And that is the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes.
I think even Ed Hockley's tired with this pace.
He's having trouble keeping up. Personal foul, no number given, but it sets up the Eagles nicely. 49-year-old Chip Kelly from Oregon, first of a 5-year deal in Philadelphia. He told us yesterday, Tim, people get caught up in the number of plays. I don't, as long as we score. That's what I worry about.
Well, that's right. They're getting crushed in time of possession right now, and it's 17.5 to 10.5. They're getting out opportunity in terms of play opportunities.
Catch made short of the 39, ball out. Whistled down, but Zach Ertz, who had the touchdown catch, made that grab.
But they're scoring points and at a high rate, and that's what Chip Kelly cares about. It's not plays, it's not ball control, time of possession. It's winning on the scoreboard, and that's clearly happened. Foles has been awesome.
Time from the pocket, overthrows Riley Cooper, and Riley wanted a flag. There is no flag. And 5 plays of 20 yards or more today for the Eagles. They led in that department coming into the game. They have 50 for the season.
After that incompletion, look at the numbers there for Nick Foles and the 4 touchdowns. The perfect quarterback rating, and they are perfect in this situation on 3rd down. Raiders have got to have a stop here. They want to go into the locker room without 0 momentum.
Foles on the run and incomplete. Trying to get it to Jason Avant. Well, Nick Foles told me that I'm the starting quarterback now, and I have to think like one. And it's a game-to-game, a week-to-week proposition, but he says I'm the starter, and the way he's playing, it'll be tough for even a healthy Michael Vick to get his job back.
I think LaShawn McCoy told us yesterday, and there's Mike Vick. He said we really genuinely feel like we have 2 starters with Michael Vick and Nick Foles.
First punt of the day for the Eagles. There's a flag down. Ball rolls into the end zone.
Now let's see if this is going to be a rough on the punter or running into the punter. If it's just a running into, it's going to stay 4th down.
That was a 61-yard punt by Donnie Jones.
It's like Ed Hockley holding his hand up there that it's a 5-yarder. Which is running into the kicker, not roughing.
We had one earlier that went in favor of the Raiders, but it was enough to give them a 1st down.
That's right.
Here it was 4th down. They needed to get 6
Running
yards.
into the kicker by the defense, number 27. It's a 5-yard penalty only. Repeat, 4th down.
It's on Rashad Jennings.
And it looks like 27 coming off the left side of your screen there, running inside Kurt Coleman. He just trips up and falls down. And the punter came down on top of him. He didn't run into the punter.
Well, Donnie Jones hadn't been doing anything all day because the Eagles have been scoring touchdowns. They're going to go for it, Tim. There's no punter out there on 4th and 1. Here comes the offense with Nick Foles. All 3 timeouts for the Eagles. Raiders also have 3. McCoy's the back.
Boy, this is risky, this area of the field, if you don't get it. I'm just going to try to draw him off sides.
Timeout. Eagles. Donnie Jones set to punt, standing at the Eagle 30. Jacoby Ford lets it bounce around the 25-yard line where it went out of bounds. Some wild games today. Let's check in with Kurt Menefee, see what's coming up.
Coming up on the Visa halftime, the Cowboys pull a late comeback. The Saints tumble to Geno Smith and the Jets. Plus the Chargers and Redskins go to OT in D.C. It's all coming up at the half. We'll see you then.
Thanks, Kurt. You see the focus of Jimmy Johnson and Terry Bradshaw. All the highlights coming up. Tampa Bay is leading Seattle 21-7 as they near the half. Winless Tampa Bay. All 3 timeouts for the Raiders. Pryor trying to get it to Griner, incomplete. Eagles will get the ball to start the second half. Raiders have 54 seconds to try and dent the scoreboard. Raiders have had the ball almost 6 minutes, actually a little more than 6 minutes than the Eagles today.
And believe it or not, as I said, I mean, they have outmatched Philadelphia in number of plays, 33-30. Clearly the difference, Philadelphia is getting into the end zone at a high rate.
Terrelle Pryor completes on the sideline short of the first down to Rod Streeter. Had a big catch of 66 yards earlier in the game. Pryor has run the ball 6 times for 55 yards. He's the Raiders' leading rusher, actually the leading rusher in the game.
There's got to be something wrong with Darren McFadden. I mean, he is too good a player. He hasn't been out on the field in the last few series. The report is from downstairs, nothing's wrong with him. I don't see him holding the helmet. I don't see anything.
We'll check with Dennis Allen at halftime. Jennifer Hale down on the field. On 3rd down, Pryor, he is going to get the first down and get out of bounds. 38 seconds, 3 timeouts for the Raiders, and a fresh set of downs.
Michael Kendrick, keep calling him Lance, sorry about that. He just can't stay with Terrelle Pryor. I mean, he is responsible for Pryor as the spy man. You see him there, number 95, and he's got some wheels of his own. You know the Raiders defense is tired. There's one person tired on Philadelphia's defense, and it's Michael Kendricks.
Michael Kendricks has 43 friends and family from Fresno here. He said, I have an investment in this game. I had to buy tickets for half of them. Pryor has to get rid of it.
It's almost over for Terrelle Pryor if he's got to move out to his left. I mean, he looks unbelievably uncomfortable in contrast to when he's rolling to the right as a thrower.
And he has, Tim, that band on his arm with plays where it's called in through Greg Olson. On the left side, you see part of the patch. If he can get in range, Sebastian Janikowski, who has 2 60-yard field goals or beyond 60 in his career made. On 2nd and 10 from the 41. Streeter in the slot. Jennings gets the carry. And Rashad Jennings has a first down inside the 45 of the Eagles. And here comes a Raider timeout. They have 2 remaining. A gain of 15 yards. From the 44-yard line of the Eagles, it is first down.
Philadelphia up front, they're just stunting themselves right out of opportunities to make plays. They can play it straight up with that defensive line. They got all these guys moving, which is opening up lanes to the backside for the running game.
Pryor fires and completes. Michael Rivera making the catch. And another timeout. Raiders will have one more with 20 seconds to go. Visa halftime report coming up. Highlights of the Cowboys, Minnesota, and also the Redskins in overtime, defeating the San Diego Chargers. And that game going on now, among others, New England, Pittsburgh, and Tampa Bay leading Seattle. Well, it'd be important for the Raiders to get back in the game and get some points here, but first time you've had a chance to see this Eagle offense at Chip Kelly. In the last 2 weeks, it's nothing like what we've seen.
They look completely different than they looked over the last 2 weeks, and the quarterback's been outstanding. Let's give a lot of credit to the offensive line. So many five-man protections. Those guys have got to hold out the pass rush. They've been outstanding today up front.
Trying to get in field goal range or maybe get more. Pryor hesitates, completes. Rod Streeter run out of bounds. Right now, your field goal distance with 14 seconds and one timeout. Remember, in his career, Sebastian Janikowski has 43 made of 50 or more. That's second all time in the NFL. Jason Hanson leads in that department. Right now, it'd be in the 53-54 range.
That's not a problem for the big bomber. He can smash him. You know, Terrelle Pryor is ugly as it looks sometimes in terms of him being a thrower, and there's the blue line, which would be his difference there for Janikowski. He's exciting to watch. I mean, Terrelle Pryor, 277 yards of offense here in the first half. That's pretty good stuff.
Has to get rid of it on third down. Remember, Terrelle Pryor, and wisely didn't take a second. It was Matt Flynn who was going to be the starting quarterback. He had arm problems and since moved on, and that's one of the reasons Pryor won the job, is because they said he gives us a chance. He's an exciting player. He makes things happen on offense. He may not be the best passer yet, but we'll work on that.
I'm glad you said that, won the job, because arm injury or not for Matt Flynn, Terrelle Pryor, fair and square, did win that job in training camp.
A 53-yard field goal try. Looks like Chip Kelly wants a timeout. Janikowski has made a field goal today, so he's 8 of 12 for the season. An update on Kaluka Maeva, earlier injured, the linebacker for the Raiders with ribs, went to the locker room early for Dennis Allen's team. And we'll get an update on the Darren McFadden story, who got the start but has not played in the last few series.
And Rashad Jennings right there, 27, who's standing next to Darren McFadden. Number 20, Jennings has been terrific. I mean, he's running for 6.5 yards a crack.
Riley Cooper, 3 catches, 2 touchdowns today, over 120 receiving yards, and already a career best for Nick Foles in his 9th NFL start. Foles has thrown 4 touchdown passes. Coming off a concussion, had to pass an impact test on Monday to get to practice during the week. From 53 yards, it's up and through. Janikowski cuts into the Eagles' lead. 3 seconds remain, and the Eagles lead 28-13.
Perfect snap. Good job by everybody up front, including the wing backs who were responsible for securing the edges, and Janikowski with that big leg. It's a little half stride, just punches it right through.
Dennis Allen, the youngest coach in the NFL at age 41 currently, in his second year.
Fun guy to talk to the other day, wasn't it? Just sitting down with Dennis Allen.
We asked him about, are you a numbers guy, the analytics, are you a field guy? He said at the end of the day, I'm a field guy. He has kind of taken his head coaching cue from Sean Payton, his time in New Orleans. He also, of course, was in Denver briefly, started in Atlanta.
I think one of the best things he's done, number one, he's very smart. Greg Williams, big mentor of his, with all that attacking style defense and all the disguises and making it look complicated for the offense, but keeping it simple for the defense. Certainly hasn't factored in today against Foles and the Eagles, but I think one of the best things that young coaches can do, and Dennis Allen certainly fits in that category, is delegate. I mean, I asked Bill Belichick several years ago, what's different in New England versus when you were in Cleveland as a young coach? He said, I learned to delegate. Dennis Allen has figured that out here with the Raiders and just letting his coaches and a good staff, letting those guys coach.
Brandon Boykin back to receive Janikowski's dribbler, picked up short at the 35-yard line to kind of run out the half. Brandon Graham getting a chance to get his hands on the football, but an electrifying first half for the Eagle offense and Nick Foles. And they have the lead. The Eagles will get the football against the Raiders and Raider Nation to start the second half. Let's go to Kurt Menefee in the Visa halftime report. Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to iTunes.com/NFL. Hope you're enjoying the NFL on Fox. Along with Tim Ryan, Chris Myers, we're going to check in with Jennifer Hale in just a moment on the injury situation regarding Darren McFadden. Riley Cooper has had quite a half along with Nick Foles.
I'll tell you the guy that Riley Cooper has really exploited has been the rookie, the number 12 overall pick, DJ Hayden. He could somehow limit Riley Cooper in those big plays. Obviously, this would be a much different game because the Raiders are getting some chunk yards now on offense with Terrelle Pryor running and throwing.
Eagles trying to win their 4th game of the year. They've all the other previous 3 have come on the road. Brandon Boykin from the Janikowski kick. And there's room for Boykin. Oh, he stumbles across the 35 with only Janikowski standing out there. Or he might still be running. Let's check in with Jennifer.
Well, Chris, Dennis Allen tells me he would love to be using Darren McFadden right now, but he tweaked his hamstring in that first half. McFadden did come out of the tunnel. He is here on the sideline with his team, but he was not carrying his helmet. Meanwhile, Allen very pleased with the job Terrelle Pryor is doing. He's not so happy with his defense. Says he needs them to limit those big plays and do a better job on 3rd down. Chip Kelly going to push the pace just as much this half, Chris.
Thanks, Jen. So an injury to McFadden. That's been the story of his career. On 1st down, Foles keeps them, throws to Cooper. A creative play. Here comes a flag as Cooper goes out of bounds.
Yeah, where was that?
Go past the line of scrimmage.
That's the whole question, and it's not Foles' body. It's where the ball is in terms of the line of scrimmage when it's released from the hand. So the blue line there is the line of scrimmage. Yeah, and it looks like
the ball is across.
It looked like the football was across the line of scrimmage as he unloaded it.
Pass. Therefore, there was no foul for the quarterback passing the ball beyond the line of scrimmage, and there was no foul for pass interference. No foul on the play. 1st down.
Yeah, that's a good call by Ed Hockley because that is the right call. His arm was clearly past the line of scrimmage, but if you looked at Riley Cooper and the angle of the throw, it ended up being a backward pass.
19-yard gain. Riley Cooper continuing to have success as McCoy bounces outside. LaShawn McCoy down the sideline for another Eagle 1st down. A 17-yard run for LaShawn McCoy. Hadn't had a lot of carries in this game. Came in with the most rushing attempts in the NFL and the leading rusher in the league. Pass is low. Deshaun Jackson couldn't scoop it up off the Coliseum turf.
What an aerobic challenge for any defense playing against this up-tempo style of offense. I mean, McCoy in space, you got to try to chase him down, and then they come right back with one of those quick perimeter throws, getting all the defensive linemen running to the sideline.
Nick Foles hangs in the pocket. There's a flag down for Selleck, and it's incomplete. Another flag inside the 10.
And they're throwing this one in the direction of Mike Jenkins on Deshaun Jackson. And finally, the Raiders got a hit on Nick Foles.
Kevin Burnett came barreling in. The Riley Cooper play before officially a statistic as a rush, not a pass for him. Or a pass reception, I should say. So still 3 catches, 122 yards.
There were fouls by both teams on the play. Personal foul roughing the passer, defense number 94. There was also holding, offense number 25. There was also pass interference, defense number 29. The penalty's offset. Replay second down.
Well, let's talk about the hit most importantly, and Kevin Burnett's the guy that comes and hits Nick Foles. I don't think it was late as much as it was hitting him in the V of the neck and then the helmet rising up right there into the chin. And that is so hard for a defensive player. You want your strike zone to be low, but as your helmet slides up and hits the helmet of the quarterback, it becomes helmet to helmet.
Wide open, LaShawn McCoy dashing to the end zone. Touchdown, Eagles. A 25-yard touchdown catch and carry. And Nick Foles has 5 touchdown passes today.
And Dennis Allen knows that this up-tempo, this high energy, this fast-paced offense forces your defense into mental errors. Nobody covered LaShawn McCoy. Wide open out on the perimeter. It's easy.
Veteran secondary with players like Charles Woodson and Tracy Porter and Mike Jenkins. But caught off guard, and now 35-13.
Today's Game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. By Miller Lite, it's not just a good time, it's Miller time. By Sprint. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
36.
Eagles with 4 games prior, scoring 30 or more. Their highest point total this season, 36. They put 35 up here to begin the third quarter. A touchback for the Raiders. They will come out to the 20-yard line, and the hole gets a little bigger for Terrelle Pryor. Not exactly a catch-up team. But what do you do to slow down? This is a veteran defense. Charles Woodson said we're a hungry, smart defense, but the Eagles have beaten them up today.
Maybe it's time to get a cramp in your hamstring or your calf.
Well, that's been tried before.
No,
You can slow down that.
Look, you got to get, when you do have pressure on Foles, you got to get him down. He has done a great job of moving around in the pocket. Clearly, the up-tempo, fast pace has played a major role in this game against the Raider defense.
And now on offense, Rashad Jennings carries. He has the Raider touchdown, and to advance the Darren McFadden story, Jennifer Hale had reported his hamstring. He is officially ruled out for the remainder of this game.
And that's a big loss. I mean, and Rashad Jennings doing a nice job running the football, but now you couple that with Matt McCants having an injury. You got Menelik Watson out there right now at offensive tackle who hasn't practiced really since week 1. A couple of key players beat up for the Raiders.
Raiders last in passing offense in the NFL coming into this game. Pryor to Jennings. It'll be third down. And a foot injury on Mike McCants, who had been playing in place of Tony Pashos, who had been out with a hip injury.
And McCants has played well. You know, you asked me at the start of the show today before the game, and what's been the problem with this Philadelphia offense, and no touchdowns over the last 2 weeks, and very simply said poor quarterback play. Now that is flipped a complete 180 today. Nick Foles, I mean, I don't know how you can be any better than Foles has been in this game.
On 3rd and 4, Pryor goes down. Vinny Curry, who has been getting increased playing time, a skilled pass rusher, putting the heat on Pryor. It was Isaac Sopolaga who was traded to the Patriots at the deadline, giving up a 6th-round draft pick to get a 5th and going with a younger rotation.
And Benny Logan being the guy that's going to get most of Sopolaga's reps. There's just so many indicators and illustrations of the youth of Terrelle Pryor. I mean, he had the edge. There's no way Vinny Curry's going to catch him. Just keep running around the corner. He tries to spin around and slips down to the ground and gives up a sack.
Marquette King from his own end zone. Deshaun Jackson watches it sail out of bounds. Eagles will have good field position with a 35-13 advantage Chip Kelly's offensive machine is rolling in Oakland. That Eagle group on offense has made it look easy against a top 10 Raider defense today. They've averaged almost 13 yards of play.
Tell you one thing, they've certainly got cleaned up coming into this game. Second worst in pro football when they're in scoring position, getting touchdowns down in the red zone. Chris, 3 for 3 today.
From the 43-yard line, LaShawn McCoy is up near the 45-yard line. 6 carries in the game for McCoy. He also, of course, had the catch for the touchdown. 3 receptions, now 2nd and 8, and remains in the game. Carries again and has another first down. On the Raiders side of the field, out around the 47-yard line.
Boy, the Raiders, they just look like they're getting gassed on defense. And nobody's breaking down, reaching out, trying to arm tackle. You're not going to do that to LaShawn McCoy.
Foles is going deep sideline. Deshaun Jackson is alone for another Eagle touchdown.
Well, the Raiders can't stay off the ground. This is going to stand, it looks like. Mike Jenkins right to the ground. See what happens here.
Before the pass was thrown, holding, defense number 21. Penalty is declined. Touchdown.
46 yards. Foles to Deshaun Jackson.
Gets the look that he wants out on the perimeter. Foles one-on-one. Mike Jenkins falls down. Deshaun Jackson doesn't. Easy touchdown. Another perfect throw from Nick Foles. That's 2 big plays for touchdowns we've seen against this Raider defense today, where the defender has fallen down, the receiver has not, and Foles throws a laser for 6.
Alex Henry with an extra point. Our director, Michael Frank, told me to play Nick Foles in the fantasy pool. And a good call. Foles, 331 yards passing and 6 touchdowns.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by the new 2014 Dodge Durango.
Alex Henry with the kick. Touchback Raiders. Deshaun Jackson, the Eagle star from Cal, reaching the end zone. Back in 1995, he was on the Raider sideline. His older brother Byron, who was working as a sideline photographer,
hey, little player,
took this picture. Byron made a documentary about Deshaun's journey to the NFL, and the title, The Making of a Father's Dream. Sports Rhythms LLC, complimentary of that photo for us to show. And Deshaun has grown up in the NFL, and the Eagle offense has this afternoon. Pryor bounces it around the 40. It'll be 2nd down.
Great reviews from what I hear. I haven't seen it. The documentary, The Making of a Father's Dream, for Deshaun Jackson. Father passed away in 2009, Bill, of pancreatic cancer. Brother really chronicled his whole life and his quest, that being Deshaun Jackson, there to make it to the National Football League. And Chris, we've seen it once again today. That dude is a big play waiting to happen.
4 catches in the game. Riley Cooper has 3. And Foles has 6 touchdowns. Jennings the carry. The Eagles' record is 7. Let's check in for a game break with Kurt Benefit.
Well, the Seahawks trying to do the comeback thing against Tampa Bay. Russell Wilson off a little fake, takes it 10 yards for the score, makes it 24-14 midway through the 3rd quarter. Chris, Tim, you were right. That Jackson documentary is really, really good.
All right, thanks, Kurt. Now we got 3rd and 8 here. On target, Delarius Moore. Moore has been their best receiver, had a 4-game stretch. 20 catches and 3 touchdowns. And if Pryor can get it to him, the Raiders can at least make some noise, as we have an Eagle player slow to get up. Michael Kendricks looks like he's hurt.
Look, Greg Olson told us, the offensive coordinator, they like their matchups in this game on the perimeter in the passing game. There's Ole right there. And look, one-on-one out here, Philadelphia is really concerned about the running box. You got to take those shots. Off coverage, going to run the in-cutting route. Perfect throw, Denarius Moore. I mean, if you look out there, and we do, and see single high coverage with the safety and one-on-one out on the perimeters with the wide receivers, being down as far as they are here, still with a lot of time left, Chris, if they really do like those matchups, Pryor's got to take his shots.
280. Release hot.
Pass complete to Jennings. He gets up near the 45-yard line.
Number 27, Rashad Jennings from Terrelle Pryor to the 45.
Pryor 14 out of 24 in the game, and he's run 7 times. Actually, it was his big run that set up the touchdown. Emmanuel Acho is in at linebacker for Michael Kendricks, who's being checked over on the sideline on 2nd and 2. Marcel Reese. And the Eagles swarm him. It'll be 3rd down.
Number 45, Marcel Reese. New game on today.
3rd and 2 for Terrelle Pryor and the Raider offense. Got behind in a hurry. Not a catch-up offense.
Hey, 4 down, 50 yards down. Lion. That's it. 51. Release hot.
Pass is low for Moore. Kerry Williams was right with him. It's 4th down.
That's a really good job by Kerry Williams. And man coverage out there. They run a little crossing route, little scissor route offensively, trying to get Kerry Williams picked off. No go there. He stayed right with the receiver and was in good position. Ball ends up being incomplete.
Marquette King back to punt. Deshaun Jackson standing inside the Eagle 10. He'll let it go. It'll be a touchback. Eagle offense takes over on the 20 after a 55-yard punt. The highest point total of the season for the Eagles. Leading 42-13. And now meet your Fox Tuesday night starting lineup.
Seth Green, Daz, yeah! Jake Johnson, New Girl. Ike Barinholtz, the male nurse on The Mindy Project. Yeah. Terry Crews, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Yeah!
All new comedy starting Tuesday at 8, 7 Central on Fox. Well, Nick Foles is 1 touchdown pass away from an NFL record. The last Eagle, and Adrian Burke, part of that, threw 7 touchdown passes back in 1954. LaShawn McCoy is buried by Kevin Burnett. Nick Foles at his 9th NFL start has 6 touchdown passes today, 331 yards passing. His career best yardage-wise is 381.
He has been so good, and I said it at the start. I mean, he is a much better quarterback than the guy who showed up 2 weeks ago against the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know how you can go back to Michael Vick after this performance.
On 2nd and 17, McCoy trying to find room. Falls across the 16-yard line.
And I got a lot of respect for Michael Vick right there, who's inactive, obviously no uniform today with a hamstring issue. But Nick Foles came into this game with 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Mike Vick sacked once every 10 throws. Nick Foles sacked once every 18 throws. And the performance today and what he has displayed, I really don't know how you can turn back.
On 3rd down, Foles to Riley Cooper. He'll be short of the 1st down, but another catch by Cooper. Nick Foles is 24 years old. Michael Vick is 33 years old. And Vick, aside from injuries, turnover prone through the course of his career. Of course, the first year under Chip Kelly running this offense. But Nick Foles comfortably sat and seems to have a good grasp of the offense and where his career is at.
And I have changed my mind on Chip Kelly's offense. And we talked yesterday. I said, look, this offense doesn't seem to work without a running quarterback.
Wrong. Fair catch called for. Lets the ball roll. Phillip Adams maybe should have grabbed that. It gets inside the 10, where the Raider offense will take over with just over 7 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Donnie Jones, what a kick. 64 yards on that punt. Donnie Jones had that tremendous punt. And when you think about punters earlier today lighting the torch here in Oakland, Ray Guy, and if anybody should go to the Hall of Fame as a punter, 7-time Pro Bowler, Ray Guy should.
I second that. No question.
On first down from inside their own 10, Terrelle Pryor flips to Rashad Jennings. And first down. Jennings across the 30 and run out of bounds. Bradley Fletcher ran him out. If you tuned in a little bit late, Darren McFadden with a hamstring who had to start. Taken out through midway through the second quarter and ruled out of the game at halftime by Coach Dennis Allen. So Jennings has the touchdown on the ground for the Raiders. Just picked up 24.
Oh, he's played well. 5.5 yards per carry for Rashad Jennings as well. If Philly's going to keep these safeties deep, there's going to be run opportunities.
Jennings running again. Bill Davis, who works on this Eagle defense, and they've had a number, and you said the defense coming in has played well the last couple of games, adjusting to there's no wide 9, there's no 4-3. This is your basic 3 lineman, 4 linebacker, and they're starting to play a little bit more together.
Yeah, they definitely are. And Connor Barwin has not gotten to the quarterback today, but who was the first guy that the Raiders talked about getting blocked on defense? It was number 98 right there, the free agent from Houston, Connor Barwin.
And Michael Kendricks has checked back into the game after leaving injured earlier. Incomplete. Trying to get it to Jerron Mastrud.
And that's what the Raiders are going to do here. I mean, I just talked about the one-on-one coverage last series that Terrelle Pryor couldn't really exploit. Now it looks like this series, Billy Davis, the defensive coordinator, has decided that they are going to keep 2 safeties deep, keep everything up in front of them, force Terrelle Pryor to unload the ball underneath, and then rally up and make tackles.
Those of you watching on Sky Sports, the United Kingdom, London, and around Europe, the Raiders will be playing, and a lot of Raider fans over there, they'll be playing in London next year against the Miami Dolphins, part of the NFL International Series. Incomplete, low to Jennings. And it's 4th down. Marquette King comes in on 4th and 6. Just under 6 minutes to go here in the third quarter. We're talking about Nick Foles' opportunities to tie the NFL record for touchdown passes in one game. Of course, Peyton Manning had 7 earlier this year. A number of guys have done it over the course of league history. Touchdown passes thrown, and this just his 9th start. Deshaun Jackson trying to get outside and gets across the 30. We're talking about Foles. Let's look at all 6.
Well, there's the one to Brent Selleck down in the red zone using his tight end. Great throw to Riley Cooper. Go route down the sideline. Great throw to Riley Cooper with the post route over the middle of the field. Now rolling out to his right again down in the red zone. Throws it out to Zach Ertz. LaShawn McCoy wide open, busted coverage. Tempo certainly factored in there. And then Deshaun Jackson one-on-one out on the edge. Michael Jenkins first fouls with a hold, then falls down. And Nick Foles throws another strike for touchdown number 6.
Foles steps to throw. He's going deep for Deshaun Jackson. He's got it inside the 10. DJ Hayden was there, but Deshaun Jackson went up and got another great throw from Nick Foles.
Great throw always beats good coverage, and it was good coverage by DJ Hayden. But the ability with those ball skills for Deshaun Jackson, awesome. Now they're hurrying up again.
LaShawn McCoy inside the 5. It's like Chip Kelly's in Oregon here, the way he's running this offense. A 59-yard pass play to Deshaun Jackson.
And there's the matchup right there, and he's just going to cut it inside on a post route, one-on-one, clearly down the middle. I mean, just outside the hands of DJ Hayden. And Deshaun Jackson just falls right in the breadbasket. Terrific catch with a player right in front of him, clouding up his vision point.
5 catches, 150 yards for Deshaun Jackson on 2nd and goal from the 5.
Watch the tight ends down here in McCoy. This is where they've gone to when they've been down here in the red zone.
Foles has it. Throws end zone. Touchdown, Riley Cooper. That's 7 for Nick Foles. 7 touchdown passes today. And that equals an NFL record. His coach said this week, don't overthink. Grip it and rip it. He's ripped it into the end zone 7 times against the Raiders.
He has been spectacular. Riley Cooper is going to come all the way from the right side of your screen, 14. He's just going to blow right through the back door of this zone with Brandon Ross, and Foles off the run. Again, another perfect throw.
Alex Henry with the extra point, 49-13. And Foles is now 21 out of 26. 400 yards and a piece of NFL history.
I mean, he's just surveying the field. He is feeling it right now, Nick Foles. I mean, they can't slow him down, and he knows it.
It's amazing, Tim, for a second-year quarterback. This is a guy coming off a concussion. How calm and in control. I know some of these guys have been open, but as you pointed out, his throws have been pinpoint.
What's been in accuracy always #1 for quarterbacks. Decision-making, certainly right there with it. He's done both to a great level of ability today. It's just been awesome to watch. But I think where I've been most impressed with him, Chris, is his ability to move around in the pocket. I mean, he has bought himself some time with his legs and opened up some throwing lanes and really throttled that Raider defense.
3rd-round draft pick. I mean, he's 6'6" out of Arizona, and you know that could be the one on FS1, or all 7 of his touchdowns. His performance could be the one if you have time to put them all together. Meanwhile, the Raiders disappointed at home. They had a chance to get to 500, but they didn't know they'd run into a machine like Nick Foles. And it was nice getting to meet him, Tim. He's one of those guys, you sit down and he says, you know, faith, family, football, in that order. He liked hoops a little bit, talked about his parents in the restaurant business. Alex Henry drives this kick into the end zone, and it'll be a touchback. Said how proud he was of his parents working hard. He'd like to own a restaurant one day, and talked about his dad working long hours and coming home smelled like catfish sometimes.
Catfish, fried catfish, his favorite.
But that's one of his favorite foods. Speaking of Fox Sports 1, on Fox Sports Live, join Jay and Dan. They'll recap all the highlights from across the NFL, including what you're seeing here. Update the BCS rankings of college football. They'll have the latest on the NBA opening weekend. Fox Sports Live, tonight 11 Eastern on Fox Sports 1. And if you don't have Fox Sports 1, look for it on your provider or go to foxsports1.com.
Start. Ready.
Pryor wide open at the 30. Rod Streeter gets up for a first down. Terrelle Pryor was actually recruited by Chip Kelly, went on to Ohio State, beat Kelly in Oregon in the Rose Bowl. As a sophomore, was the MVP.
And I think, Mary, we talked to LaShawn McCoy, who was trying to recruit him at Pitt as well. Terrelle Pryor. Now this looks like that Oregon offense that Chip Kelly was. They don't chip away at anybody. They chop everybody up when it's clicking.
There's no running out the clock with him.
He's hot.
There's time. Pryor goes underneath at the 40 to Jennings. Nice work by Jennings, who gets a first down onto the Eagles side of the field. Nick Foles, who came in relief with the Giants, did well, got a start against Tampa Bay, did well, but then struggled in a start against the Dallas Cowboys, and there were doubts. Of course, the concussion told us about passing the impact test, and now quite an impact on NFL history.
And what's amazing is...
Y.A. Tittle, see some of those names?
Yeah, I did. George Blanda. Raider himself. What's amazing is the Raiders have not given up a lot on defense via the big plays. He has pulverized them today.
It'll be second down.
And speaking of Chip Kelly, and it all looks great today, no question. And the quarterback clearly the component that makes it all happen. You get a sense in talking to him, and I enjoyed talking to him yesterday. We spent good time with him over at their team hotel. Chip's got a chip on his shoulder, doesn't he? I mean, don't you get that feeling in talking to him?
That's why
a little chip up there for Chip.
The name Chip is perfect, right? Well, they had only, the Raider defense they had only given up 21 big plays during the year. 8 today that we've counted so far, and we still have the fourth quarter to play.
One touchdown at 20+ is all the Raiders gave up defensively through the air all season.
Pryor can run for the first down and get more. Inside the 25, an awkward slide of the Eagles. I want to go back to Chip Kelly because a lot was written into the offensive struggles in the last couple of games, and understandably so. But when you look around, his Oregon team is 8-0, the one he left. Andy Reid, the coach that left Philadelphia, is now, after today's win by the Chiefs, 9-0 in Kansas City.
Now, next mission for Chip is he's going to have to win a home game. And Philadelphia has not won
10 in a row
at their field.
They've lost
10 consecutive losses.
That's shocking. Ball is loose, and it's being kicked around at the 29-yard line.
Pryor did come up with it again, it looks like there. He just dropped the snap. Looked like he took his eyes off the ball and looked up and dropped the shotgun snap.
The Eagles, by the way, will be at Green Bay next, and then home. Their next home game you're talking about against the Redskins as we take a look after the 22-yard run by Pryor, having trouble here with the snap.
Yeah, trouble with the snapper. That was a low snap there by Wisniewski.
Only his second game back, and more put on Stefan Wisniewski. His uncle Steve, the great Raider.
Boy, he was a stud.
Second down, 15 from the 30. Behind and intercepted. Went off the hands of his receiver, and Bradley Fletcher has it all the way up to the 45-yard line.
Well, this will show up as an interception. This will show up as a pick for Terrelle Pryor, but this is on his receiver, Rod Streeter. We saw one last week, too. I believe it was Bryce Butler hit him right in the numbers up in the air. Philadelphia is playing zone defense right now. Good throw, pops it up. Look at all those replaced defenders standing behind the receiver just to catch that tip ball.
Frustration for the Raiders. First turnover of the game.
Tell you, that's another area with all these plays for Philadelphia offensively, and Foles now looking for his 8th touchdown. They don't turn the ball over like they did last year. I mean, this offense had 37 turnovers last year in Andy Reid's final season. Here comes Chip Kelly and the ball security issues. With as much as they throw and spread it all over the place, much better this season.
LaShawn McCoy gets the carry. Just under 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. Will we be seeing NFL history? Will we see an 8th touchdown pass from Nick Foles in this game? McCoy.
So think about these numbers for Foles coming into this game. 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He carved up the Giants several weeks ago, week 5. The Bucs in week 6. Gets a concussion against Dallas, and he comes in here now, and he's sitting at 13 touchdowns, still 0 interceptions. What's the name of his dad's restaurant? The Salty South?
That's one of them. Complete. Bryce Brown. Short of the first down.
Number 34, Bryce Brown.
Raider defense cools off the hot-handed Nick Foles. Donnie Jones will come into punt. Jacoby Ford back to return. Just over, now under a minute to go in the third. across the 10-yard line. Tim Ryan, Chris Myers, Jennifer Hale on the field, and it's been a one-sided game. Considering the Raiders had a top 10 defense coming in, the Eagles offense hadn't scored a touchdown in a couple of games, but the performance of Nick Foles, second-year quarterback from Arizona, in just his 9th NFL start, to have a record-tying, an NFL all-time record, 7 touchdown passes and still a quarter to go.
Well, he's getting all the credit, and rightly so. It could be a historic fourth quarter here for Foles as he's in search of number 8. But look, everybody else around him. The play calling has been fantastic by the head coach, Chip Kelly. The offensive line with all those 5-man protections have kept them clean. And the wide receivers have beaten people when they're in the isolation route. It's been a great team effort.
Terrelle Pryor goes out of bounds. As we wind down in the third quarter. There's Matt Barkley, who came in relief when Foles was out and Vic got hurt. He struggled a little bit, the former USC Trojan. Now, if you're Chip Kelly, do you leave Foles in, risking injury, and try to go for that NFL record when you've got the game in hand?
Well, Nick Foles, as you said, 9 starts? Every rep he can get is going to be good for Nick Foles, and he hasn't really gotten hit today. Just call the quick passing game and let him get the ball out. The more reps Foles gets, it's money in the bank as they try to win this NFC East here in the back end of the season. He's been hit 3 times today.
Well, if I'm Chip Kelly and the Eagles, you don't want to rub it into any opponent, but you go for the record. How many times do you get this opportunity? And we have come to the end of the third quarter. Nick Foles and the Eagles with a 49-13 advantage. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after a break from your local Fox station. Nick Foles, who is taller than any of his receivers, he's come up big today. Said, my mentality is I'm the starting quarterback.
You know what? Now he probably really believes it.
Blue 80!
I don't think you could say that yesterday.
Got a flag and a whistle.
False start offense. Number 76. 5-yard penalty. It's third down.
Tell you one thing that's going to hopefully help these Raiders in the back end of the season, and obviously with the Jets winning today, with Tennessee winning today, and how that wild card is going to match up down the stretch. It's going to be a long road to roll here for the Raiders to get into the postseason. But getting Jared Belda here back at left tackle should be a big asset for them.
He's 3 weeks away. Watson came in to play, the rookie from Florida State. His first activity on the offensive line, and the continued development of Terrelle Pryor. Rivera has it up across the 27-yard line for a Raider first down. The Raiders will play, they continue in the NFC East. They're at the Giants. In fact, 4 of the next 5 are on the road. They're at Houston after that, home with Tennessee, and then on the road against the Cowboys and the Jets.
I'll tell you another area. You see Michael Rivera there, the 5th-round pick out of Tennessee, who I think is going to be a good player, and they're using him quite a bit. They really miss that receiving tight end. And David Osbury going down. And you think big guys closer to the quarterback would be a benefit for Pryor.
Jennings runs for another Raider first down. Terrelle Pryor has run 10 times for 89 yards. He's the Raiders' leading rusher. He's thrown 19 out of 34. Did suffer the interception on the pass to Streeter that Fletcher grabbed the deflection of. When they asked Pryor about, are you anxious to show people you could be a passing quarterback? He said, well, no, I want to win. It's just win, baby. He actually said the Al Davis line.
I give him a lot of credit. He really has developed.
There's a flag down, and there's a receiver down. He was trying to get it to Streeter in the middle of the field.
D'Amico Ryans just jacked him from behind, and in the jump zone, that's fine as long as the ball's not in the air.
Defense, number 59. The ball is placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
I mean, that 5-yard buffer, you get a receiver that comes in there as a linebacker, they love. So here's the line of scrimmage. So anything in that box, you can go hit that guy. That's fine. But you can't do it when the ball is in the air. And it looked like the ball had just left the hand of Terrelle Pryor. It becomes pass interference.
First down Raiders from the 45-yard line.
Now, one thing about Pryor, and remember all the talent Jamarcus Russell had, the #1 overall pick and all that stuff with the big arm, he never worked. this young cat will work. Terrelle Pryor is really determined to get himself better, and he has improved as a thrower.
Has to get rid of that. Let's check in with Kurt Menefee for a game break. Kurt?
And the Pittsburgh Steelers coming back against the Patriots. Ben Roethlisberger hooks up with Jericho Cotchery, 8-yard score, ties the game at 24. There's still a lot of time left on the clock in New England. Chris and Tim?
Thanks, Kurt. The Steelers were here in Oakland last Sunday and fell behind early and got beat by, tried to rally, got beat by the Raiders. So that game's tightening up. The Buccaneers lead over Seattle. Kurt will keep us posted on that. That's tightened. Pryor trying to get the Raiders some points, and nobody in the area. It'll be third down.
Well, Terrelle Pryor's mad at either himself or a receiver because that was a breakdown in communication. He was throwing what looked like an out route or a corner route, and the receiver, Jerron Kreiner, looked like he was running a go route.
Kreiner, the second-year receiver who was inactive for the first 7 games for the Raiders, again mentioning that he played at Arizona and was the #1 target there of Nick Foles, the Eagles quarterback. Of course, from the 2 were in college. And Nick said, why would I throw to anybody else? At the time, it was a great combination. On third down, Pryor is on the run. It's a lot of room in front of him, but he wants to throw it. It'll be fourth down. Michael Kendricks, finally, from Hoover High School in Fresno, California, finally ran him down.
Well, there's a lot going on in the head of Terrelle Pryor. Make a decision and go. I mean, there was a lot of room for him to run. Third down, keep the chains moving, get a first down, and just seems like not comfortable, second guessing himself, stopping. Let me try to drive it down the field. Maybe I should run. Maybe I should throw. He just needs to get better, Chris, at those situations and being more decisive.
Third sack of the game for the Eagle defense. And the Raiders forced to punt. Demarcus Johnson back now for the Eagles, giving Deshaun Jackson a breather, moving everybody away. And it bounces out of bounds. Just under 13 minutes to play here in Oakland. And the Eagles have pulled away.
Game on Fox is sponsored by Lowe's. Lowe's, never stop improving. By Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL. And by State Farm. It pays to double check. Talk to your agent today.
If the Eagles hang on for the win here, they go to 4-5. Redskins won today in overtime. Dallas had to rally at home against the Vikings. The Giants have the bye week. Eagles bye week comes later.
I think the final bye week, right? Week 12, when it's the final week of idle teams.
Foles will be brought down. Yeah, at Green Bay, and then they're home with the Redskins, and then Chip Kelly and his Eagles will have an off week. It looks like the pace here with 7 touchdown passes. Eagles keeping it up. LaShawn McCoy stays in. It'll be third down.
One thing you got to respect about Chip Kelly and talking to LaShawn McCoy about him yesterday is he said, you know, they had a 3-game losing streak earlier in the year. They go through a 2-game losing streak coming into this game. He said Chip Kelly hasn't changed. He hasn't panicked. He's laid back. Everything's still cool. It's a lot of times with college coaches in the NFL for the first time, that's not the case.
Already 400 passing yards for Nick Foles. And he's got all afternoon.
That had to be close to 10 seconds for Nick Foles.
But he was forced to throw it away, and a punt for the Eagles, something we have rarely seen today from Donnie Jones. Foles 22 out of 28, 406 yards, and again, if you tuned in just a little bit late, part of an NFL record-tying 7 touchdown passes in his 9th career start.
Yeah, see that yards per play, 49 plays, 529 yards.
Jacoby Ford lets it bounce at the 40, and it rolls up near the 43-yard line. Along with Tim Ryan, Chris Myers, our entire crew. Glad to have you watching a career moment for Nick Foles. The Eagles up 49-13. Terrelle Pryor trying to move the Raiders with a fresh set of downs at the 43 of Oakland. Moore has it. Gets a first down on the Eagles side of the field. Now some Eagle fans, they travel well. And they love to follow their team. Look, this was before the game, this Eagle fan. He's got Ron Jaworski, 5th on that list. Nick Foles, number 1 today.
Yeah, I would be moving old Jaws way up here.
Look at the jerseys.
Move the me way down.
We've got Donovan McNabb jersey here. We saw a Jim McMahon Eagle jersey.
A few random Cunningham jerseys running around here.
Pass is caught.
Number 81, Michael Rivera.
Doesn't have to be Halloween for people to dress up here at the Coliseum for a Raider game. There's a Randall jersey.
Randall Cunningham, Michael Vick.
Jim McMahon. Wow, you don't see that very often. And not a Nick Foles. Number 9, you'll see a lot of those, I'm sure, the next time the
And they won't say McMahon on the back.
Eagles play at home. Pass is caught. Terrelle Pryor, good enough for a Raider first down. I ran into Jim Plunkett in the elevator here. Of course, when you think of Eagle and Raider history over the years and the Super Bowls, Tom Flores, who does Raider broadcast, 2-time Raider Super Bowl head coach.
Mike, if you're not losing.
280.
Pryor wisely gets rid of that. It was Super Bowl 15. The Oakland Raiders and the Philadelphia Eagles. MVP Jim Plunkett, 3 touchdown passes in the game, had an 80-yarder to Kenny King. He had 2 to Cliff Branch. The Raiders beat Ron Jaworski and the Eagles 27-10. Dick Vermeil is a guy, by the way, who Chip Kelly told me he still is. There's Tom Flores, and there he is broadcasting. And Chip Kelly said he still talks to Dick Vermeil. That's his kind of NFL liaison, somebody he keeps in touch with. As Jennings carries.
Really 2 of the more storied franchises. Philadelphia has been around since the 30s. The Raiders, Tom Flores right there, 2 Super Bowl wins. My wife was actually a cheerleader in the '83 Super Bowl. I believe it was in Tampa against the Washington Redskins. They beat the Redskins.
For the Raiders now. So you have to be impartial in this broadcast.
Oh, no. We don't impartial. I think I said partial.
No,
absolutely.
She can be partial.
Oh, yeah.
You have to be impartial.
Oh, I'll hear it when I get home.
Pryor, and it's intercepted, deflected off one Eagle. And did he come up cleanly? Yes, he did. Connor Barwin was back there for the deflection and interception. We might see Nick Foles get that record yet.
Denarius Moore on the comeback route, and really a good job just bursting up on the football for the Philadelphia Eagles. Patrick Chung, who hasn't played a lot, tips it up in the air, and Connor Barwin picks it off.
Today's game is sponsored by the new Windows.
Connor Barwin, his first career interception, and that's it for Nick Foles. He will be one of a special group as Terrelle Pryor heads to the tunnel, but Foles with 7 touchdown passes takes a break as Matt Barkley comes in to run the offense, and Bryce Brown carries. Barkley in 2 games this year, 28 out of 46, no touchdowns and 4 interceptions and under 300 yards passing, but Nick Foles finishes with 406 yards, 22 completions, and 7 touchdowns.
You know, when they drafted Barkley in the 4th round, it should have been an indicator to all of us at that point that Chip Kelly values throwing more than he does running out of his quarterback position. And again, I didn't believe it until what we saw today.
Barkley's throw and wide open. was James Casey, the third tight end, but he missed him. Well, and Chip Kelly, I think, wants a mobile quarterback, but not necessarily a running. Scrambling quarterback would do, but you got to, and you know, Tim, this is still a passing league, and this is the challenge for the Raiders when they say smoke and mirrors with Terrelle Pryor. You've got to be able to pass consistently at the quarterback position, or you're just not going to win in the NFL.
Yep, there's no question about that. You look at Tony Romo, you look at Eli Manning, a couple of division opponents. Both those cats can throw it.
When's the last time a running quarterback won the Super Bowl?
That would be never.
Pass is caught up near the 29-yard line. Zach Ertz, the rookie who had a touchdown catch in the first half.
I mean, even when Steve Young and the 49ers won it, Steve wasn't running that year. Steve was doing it all with his arm.
Even when you go back to quarterbacks like Brad Johnson with Tampa, Trent Dilfer, they still weren't running quarterbacks. They let the running game and the defense, but they made the necessary throws from the pocket when they had to for their teams to go on and win the Super Bowl. Where do the Eagles figure in your mind at the halfway point in the NFC East race?
Well, they're right in the mix. I mean, you look at Dallas winning today, Washington winning today. They're going to win. They're going to stay in second place. Defensively, they, other than the opener against the Redskins, they played well against their division opponents.
We'll get a look at the Eagle defense once more after a 39-yard punt. Terrelle Pryor to the locker room with an injury. Matt McGloin, who is a free agent, his first NFL appearance. He's been active the last 4 games. The rookie from Penn State, from Scranton, Pennsylvania, gets in against the Eagles here with under 8 minutes to play. His first NFL pass is complete to Jacoby Ford. Let's head down to the field and Jennifer Hale. Jennifer?
Well, Chris, as the temperatures down here are dropping, the injuries sure are mounting for Oakland. The Raiders, as you mentioned, now have Terrelle Pryor back in the locker room. They are checking his knee, some sort of tweak or injury there. He's questionable to return, Chris.
All right, so McGloin will finish up. I don't know why you'd bring him back in a game like this.
Now let this guy get some reps. Where he certainly, McGloin has an advantage over Pryor is he's got a big-time arm now. Greg Olsen had a lot of good things to say about him yesterday.
Rashad Jennings has a first down, still fighting hard up near the 47.5-yard line.
Nobody's played better offensively than Rashad Jennings today for the Raiders, and really forced into a full-time role with McFadden going down with the hamstring. Jennings has done some nice things.
Monday. Hero.
What's up? McGloin running a hurry up, dumps it off. Jennings gets inside the 45 of the Eagles. Big arm, accurate arm. Not as athletic, that's how he was described, but a tough player who, when you talk about Matt McGloin, at least in training camp, other players rallied around him. That kind of let's go get him, we'll get on your back kind of guy.
Yeah, his teammates love him. He's got a toughness factor for sure. When you're going to go out, if you're going to get in a scuffle, take McGloin with you. He may not win, but he'll participate.
That was the way he was described, and there's a nice run by Jennings down to near the 35 of the Eagles. Only 2 active quarterbacks on the roster coming in for the Raiders with Pryor's injury. Just over 6 minutes to go. McGloin trying to get some points for Oakland.
79.
And McGloin's biggest challenge in this league is throwing from the pocket, Chris. He is maybe a fraction over 6 foot tall, and not many guys other than Drew Brees and Russell Wilson really get it done at a high level at that size.
And there he is, batted away as he was trying to hit his receiver, Damian Square, and his arms up.
That's an example of it right there. You're short, your release point's short. Defensive linemen see it, get their hands up, and make it hard for you to throw that fence of arm through that fence of arms.
We talked to you. We showed John Madden earlier. You saw Ray Guy talk about the Raider family and players over the years. We want to send our best to John Fox, who was a Raiders defensive backs coach back in the mid-90s here. Of course, the head coach of the Broncos on the bye week in the hospital. And we wish him well in a speedy and healthy recovery.
Thinking about you, Foxy. Get well, bud.
Jennings. Rashad Jennings down to the 10-yard line. He came in relief in the second quarter of Darren McFadden, who had a hamstring injury.
I'll tell you, for a guy 230 pounds, he can get up and go. Rashad Jennings, just a little draw, and he is just shaking guys down inside. Now, Philadelphia's got a lot of their backups out there, and it looks like it right now as Jennings isn't even getting touched till he's 10 yards deep into the defense of the Eagles.
94 yards rushing today for the backup running back for the Raiders. On first and goal. McLaurin, end zone throw, knocked away. Pryor had to play defense against Brandon Boykin, the Eagle corner.
And it slips as he's reaching out and just gets enough on that ball to, with his left hand, and knock it out of the hands of Brandon Boykin, or that's an interception in the end zone.
Hey, Lion, 51. Big deal, big deal.
Jerron Kreiner, one receiver, at second and goal. Jennings splits out to the right. For Jacoby Ford, it's out of bounds, incomplete.
And see, unlike what we saw all day with Philadelphia, five-man protection, the Raiders could not get home defensively rushing the passer. It's one of the first times in this game we have seen the Oakland Raiders go to an empty set with a five-man protection, and Najee Good came scot-free right up the gut and forced the ball out of the hands of Mike McGloin.
Now third and goal from the 10. Incomplete. Connor Barwin, who had an interception first of his career, got his arms up there. They were trying to get the ball to Denarius Moore. Now fourth and goal for Matt McGloin.
You know, one thing Connor Barwin told us yesterday, and I talked about it earlier, that they really feel like they're going to ascend defensively here in the back end of the season. He said everybody knows their role now. He goes, we came in, we had all these coaches on defense that were coordinators in college. It was kind of like too many Chiefs, not enough Indians. Everybody knows their role now, and they have settled in and found it.
McGloin pointing one way, throwing incomplete. And the Eagles will take over on downs. Matt Barkley will lead the offense back on the field for Philadelphia. Chris Johnson, a breakout game against the Rams. Zach Stacy against Tennessee, the former Vanderbilt star for the Rams on the losing end today as Tennessee won 28-21. And the Saints, despite a big performance by Jimmy Graham, what a coaching job by Rex Ryan. A couple of brothers going at it in that matchup.
I'll tell you another thing too, and they're good on defense. We all know that. I give Marty Morton-Henry a lot of credit, the offensive coordinator. He's doing a lot of things different than he ever did as the OC with Philadelphia, and now the OC with the Jets. He's getting the most out of Geno Smith, and he has changed up his game.
We saw a couple of things today, Tim, that the Eagles had not seen a lot. Certainly the breakout performance, the record equaling performance of Nick Foles. Bryce Brown getting carries, getting into the flow, and was not much of a factor over the early part of the season. Riley Cooper with 5 catches and 3 touchdowns in the game, and Deshaun Jackson also 150 receiving yards. Of course, you would expect that, and even the tight ends more in play for Chip Kelly's offense. It'll be third down. You mentioned the Eagles when they play at home. Deshaun Jackson looking on from.
He doesn't look like he's aged since he was 10 years old, standing on the sideline in that little spot we showed earlier.
He still runs like a youngster. Eagles will be at Green Bay next, then home with the Redskins, and then a bye week. Riley Cooper and Nick Foles look like they'll be connecting quite a bit over the second half of the season.
And if their O-line continues to protect like they protected today, and Foles, when under pressure, can buy time with his legs, they are just going to be hard to stop with that up-tempo and the precise throwing.
Barkley's pass complete to Ertz. It is fourth down. The Eagle punting team will come out. Donnie Jones. We have a timeout here. The Raiders will have 2 remaining. I was talking to Michael Vick.
So
Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, there he is now, and look at him back then.
It's a little taller.
Still looks the same, doesn't he?
That youthful smile.
Look at that.
You just knew with this Eagle offense, with guys like Deshaun Jackson and LaShawn McCoy, Brent Selleck, you see in the picture, had a touchdown catch today. I mean, it couldn't go more than a couple of games without scoring touchdowns.
Absolutely. And what really puts it into perspective, you mentioned those 2 games, no touchdowns. Even without that, they were still the most explosive offense in the NFL after 8 games, with doing nothing in the last 2. It really kind of puts into perspective what they were able to do the first 6. And, of course, what they picked back up on here today in Week 9.
It was Jason Avant, Tim, who said it's not that defenses have figured out what we're doing, but we as an offense need to adjust. So obviously Chip Kelly, other than having Nick Foles in, and as sharp as he was, they made some adjustments offensively to whatever defenses were doing in the last couple of games.
Well, I don't know how many adjustments they made. We definitely saw the screens that we've seen all year long, but they were whipping people out on the perimeter with their wide receivers. We got to give Riley Cooper a lot of credit. DJ Hayden, the 12th overall pick, who lined up on him a few times in this game today, just got smoked or fell down, one or the other. And they beat people one-on-one today.
Matt McCoy's pass is incomplete.
This game today, Chris, for me, and I'll always say this forever, this game is not about plays, it's about players. And today, I don't know how much they changed up their plays, but their players really stepped up.
And a veteran secondary of the Raiders that was the most improved part of a very improved defense, and as we said, was the backbone of the Raiders kind of turning their season around, just were taken apart by the Eagles. You saw a shot from the booth moments ago. James Petralka, Emmett McGuire up here helping us with the broadcast as they do every week. We appreciate their help.
I'll say this, it's impressive, Philadelphia. They didn't get until 2 o'clock yesterday. That cross-country trip, that's hard to do on the body clock. They showed zero effect of that today.
Well, Chip Kelly was asked about that during the week. He said, you know, his experience going east to west, not that big a deal. That's why he flies on Saturday, day before. He said going the other way, it's a bigger issue, and especially with a 1 o'clock Pacific game, which is on the Eastern time clock, obviously 3 hours later. And, of course, we got an extra hour of sleep if you turn your clock back, fall back, spring forward, as the saying, as Richard Jennings carries onto the Eagles side of the field. Philadelphia will go to 4-5. The Raiders will go to 3-5. And looking up in what is one of the better divisions, we talk about the NFC West with Seattle and San Francisco. The AFC West with unbeaten Kansas City and Denver. A powerhouse division. Jennings still fighting hard, and he's going to take us to the 2-minute warning.
Look, say what you want, fired up for the Eagles and what they're doing, and it was time for a change for Andy Reid in Philadelphia. They're a long time, but can't be any happier for anybody than you are Andy Reid and their undefeated record.
Chip Kelly said, stick with me, kid, we're going places. A record equaling 7 touchdown passes for Nick Foles, and meanwhile Matt McGloin, his first in-game NFL action in relief of Terrelle Pryor.
You can see he's got a nice arm, though. He's hitting that back foot, McGloin, and just driving it. That was a good throw.
Sold out here every game. The Oakland Coliseum, and of course, see Deshaun Jackson, his Cal days, a number of the Eagle players who have either played college out in this area or grew up out here, have fans in the area. Nick Foles' dad is here. Our thanks to Derek Boyko of the Eagles, Will Kiss of the Raiders, their media departments for cooperating with us, helping you to bring this broadcast. Derek Boyko, 20 years with the Eagles, outlasting coaches, players. And always a pleasure to work with. Nice catch. Jacoby Ford hauls that in from Matt McGloin. McGloin hustling. The irony here, the Raider quarterbacks, Terrelle Pryor from Pennsylvania and Matt McGloin from Scranton, going against the Eagles. Our game produced by Mike Burtz, Director Mike Frank, Associate Director Brian Biederman, Broadcast Associate Mike Strack, Kevin McCloskey on audio. Pass is caught inside the 5 by Kreider. It'll be first and goal Raiders.
I tell you, for the first opportunity to see this Philadelphia Eagle juggernaut offensively in person, I can't tell you, Chris, how impressed I am and how difficult it must be on a defense to try to stop these cats when they're clicking.
Jeremy Stewart, second year back from Stanford, with the carry. We have a timeout by the Raiders. They'll have one remaining. It's worth showing again because Nick Foles in his 9th start, 7 touchdown tosses. The first one to Brett Selleck. Riley Cooper, who's had a career afternoon, beating Raider coverage. Cooper 139 receiving yards. Zach Ertz, the rookie tight end from nearby. LaShawn McCoy ran one in. And number 7 to Deshaun Jackson, or I should say number 6, and then back to Riley Cooper for number 7, and equals what Peyton Manning did this year. Sid Luckman, Y.A. Tittle, 7 touchdown passes in one NFL game.
And not one of those 7 was off the mark. All perfectly thrown from Nick Foles.
McCoy for the end zone, and incomplete. Denarius Moore was trying to hold on to it, but Brock Carmichael was battling him all the way.
And there is no question that the up-tempo, and it was only 55 plays from Philadelphia today, 20 minutes of time of possession, which is incredible, 545 yards. But that up-tempo wears the defense down physically, slows down the pass rush, wears them down mentally, and then you end up with coverage busts. We saw a few of those today.
Jeremy Stewart in the end zone for a Raider touchdown. .52 seconds remaining.
I mean, this is shocking. I mean, nice little power run up inside. Same one they scored on earlier with Rashad Jennings.
Yeah, what's so shocking?
No, what's shocking is, as I'm just looking, 92 plays of offense by the Raiders in this game.
And only 20 points. As Chip Kelly said when I asked him, I don't care about, people make a big deal about snaps. In fact, it was last.
He got abrasive when you talked about that.
Well, their last game, I think they had the fewest number of snaps all season long. He's I just want to get in the end zone, and he has the quarterback to do it now. And Nick Foles seems like he's locked up the job, but that'll be Chip Kelly's call. And he didn't want to go to, well, who's my quarterback next week? He was very firm on Nick is the guy this week.
I've had a lot of respect for this guy for a long time as a football player and as a person. I really like Michael Vick, sitting down and talking to him. He will be an asset down the road here for the Philadelphia Eagles when he gets healthy. I think he forced his way back with that injury tag that he has had over the years and that injury-prone label. I'm not so sure that hamstring was ever ready. Forced his way back, re-aggravated the hamstring. And then after the performance of this guy today, number 9, with the accuracy, 406 yards, 7 touchdowns, still has not thrown an interception this year, doesn't take sacks. I don't know how you can go back to number 7.
Well, you were concerned about the 5-man protection and how much the quarterback is vulnerable in this offense, but Foles showed that if, at least today, if you get rid of it quickly, you're
that's
okay.
The whole thing, Chris, is I wasn't so sure Nick Foles was ready. I've had a lot of conversations with Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, the best in the business. And I asked him, if you had your druthers on a protection, which one would you pick? And they both said 5-man. Because you can see where all the blitzes are coming from. You got 5 out, you just make a quick decision.
The onside kick gathered in by the Eagles. Zach Ertz came up with a recovery, but there's a flag down.
Offside by the kicking team, number 25. That 5-yard penalty will be enforced from where the kick was recovered. Philadelphia's ball, first down.
Riley Cooper, thought of as the other receiver with Deshaun Jackson, the star for this Eagle receiving corps. We all know, you recall back to the start of the season, things off the field that were said that got him into some hot water. The team has come together after he apologized, and a career day, 5 catches, 139 yards, 3 touchdowns for Riley Cooper. Deshaun Jackson, 5 catches, 150 yards, and a touchdown.
Pretty good homecoming game for him.
And Nick Foles, record-setting day, joining elite quarterbacks in his 9th start with 7 touchdown passes. And the Eagles get their offensive
Does that say it all right there? More touchdowns today than incompletions.
22 out of 28, 406 yards, 49 points for Chip Kelly's offense in a 49-20 win here in Oakland. You're watching the NFL on Fox, and we will have more from the Oakland Coliseum and the Eagles' victory in just a moment.